Hey everybody, I'm DoctorPlasma and I like art. I'm not any good at it, but today I'm going to show you a powerful art command. You only need one, and I'm going to show you lots of different ways to use that one command. So let's get started. So what I have right here is some command blocks that we're going to run this command in. So first, the basics. So the basics of this command are that your command blocks have the ability to detect which slot in your inventory is selected, which slot in your hotbar is selected. And so you have the ability to detect and control things based on changing your hotbar. So if I configure these to set blocks relative to me while I have, you'll see this is execute at me as me if data entity at s, which means myself, has an selected item slot of 0, then run set block underneath me, black concrete. So we're going to do the same thing with this one, only I'm going to do a snow block so that it matches the bottom. And if I turn these on, I've set this one so that the item slot is 2. So the item slots are numbered 0 through 8. And so that gives you the ability to specify which one you want. And now if I say 0, by clicking on my 1 to go to my first slot in my inventory, I can sit here and I can draw all day long. And I can come off with my mouse to stop. So if I want to make a smiley face, I could do it like this. See? Very easy. You get the idea. Let me erase this. See? It works as an eraser. And so I can sit here and draw all day with this. It's very neat and very fun to play with. So I can turn that on, turn it off. And so for visibility's sake, you might do this, where you go ahead and put the block that you're doing in the slot. It'll make it easier for you to see what you're doing. And see, I can go off and on. So the next thing I want to show you, be sure to always turn these off, is a second version of the command where instead of using setblock, we use clone. So by selecting these ranges, and I will show you how the command works, what we're going to do is we're going to run the same command where it's at me as me, and I'm going to run this in the second slot. We are going to do clone this area. So we're going to put a block in each corner. I'll show you how to do it. The easiest way to do it is to place a block you'd like to use here and here in your 3x3 area, and look at your F3 screen, and in the top right you'll see targeted block, and it's 565 -1 for that one, and it's 767 -3 for that one. And so you'll see I have similar numbers. Instead I used, I think, this one, 7 -1. So I used this one, I used that one. And so for example, you'll have the first three are going to be 565 -3. See right there. And then you've got the other ones in the other corner. And so once you've done that, you should be able to do anything in the cloned region that you selected and color it. And so what slot did I use? I used slot 2 for this. So if I have this in the second slot here, and we turn this on, now what happened? Why did it go dark? Well, I've set a brush. So now I can run around and draw like this. I can draw a big circle. All I have to do is go off of that slot for it to stop. Now you may notice that it's a little bit annoying to have it go while you're in spectator, and using @p does the closest player, and that could lead to problems if you're in multiplayer, and you could have problems where you accidentally overwrite your command blocks. And so let's show how to get around that. So I'm going to erase this really fast in a second, but what you need to do is have a command with a few more options. Now these might seem scary. At the end I'm going to explain how each step of this command works. But what we're doing is for our at P, we're going to do spectator and have a minimum and maximum distance. And so this distance right here, 5 to 300, this distance means the minimum distance from this and the maximum distance from it. And so what I did is I ran the same command, and that will cause it to not go forever, and it'll do that. And you can also put your name in. You can do name equals. And so what this will do is in the 0 slot, we're going to do everything in this 5x5, And the last word on there, if you noticed on the other one, is masked. And that's going to be important in a second. So if I were to did I turn this off? No, I didn't. Always turn it off. And so if I were to use this as a brush, so I'm going to select this and put it in this slot. Now that I turn it on, I shouldn't have any issues up close, and it should only work on spectator. So if I go to spectator mode, nothing happens here yet. If I back away, where I'm more than 5 blocks away, did I have it selected? What slot did I do? It's slot 0. So actually, I wanted this to be here. Okay, so it's running right now. I'm on this slot, go to spectator, and see as soon as I get 5 blocks away, then it will start to function. And it won't function if I get any closer, so I don't have to worry about messing it up. If I were to go way out this way, 300 blocks away, woo, paintbrush, and switch out of spectator mode to make it stop. Or you can switch this, but you'd need to be out of spectator mode to switch your slots. And so you can sit here and draw all day like this. Letter P for Doc P. See? I can sit here and draw all day. So that's all there is to it. Now, this command block, if you were wondering, is an eraser. So if you do the same concept, I'm going to turn this off, but you have it empty and you don't put masked on the end here, you don't actually need this. So if you have masked here, this will prevent it from overwriting with air. But if we do the same command, and this one doesn't have masked, now it serves as an eraser. And so now if I come over here, and I go to spectator mode, I can sit here and erase this very quickly. See how fast that is? It's much faster to move blocks around using yourself as a paintbrush. And it's actually kind of fun too. So the last thing I wanted to show you is that right here you could do a palette. So once you get your command dialed in, you know how you want to do it, what you want to do is you want to copy and paste it, and you can clone a single block region above these to make it dynamic. And so if I have this set to be whatever this block is, so let's say, for example, we wanted to do these, I have these aligned, and I have this set to item slot 1, and I have this one set to item slot 2 and 3, and these are the coordinates. You just put the same coordinates of the block above in twice, so that's 2365, -2. You look in the top right, 2365, -2. And so for this particular slot, it's going to do that one. You see what I did here? And so now, if I go like this, I can actually create a palette that I can dynamically switch. And so if I come over here and turn these on, now I can run around like this, and I can paint to my heart's content. And as I change my color, it's going to change the color like this. Isn't that neat? And obviously you can use the hotkeys to do this. And so I can color that. I didn't do a brown. Let's say we wanted to add another color. And I'll make a little tree. So what we would do, just to give you an example, is we would go and we would take the code, paste it in another block. And in this case, I'm going to want to do the last slot of my hotbar, which is 8. And we're going to change it to this block right here. And so this block right here is 2865, -2. And so because these are all just sliding over one block, it's going to be 2865, -2. And so now that I have that on, I'm going to turn this one off. So now that that's on, I can come over here and draw a tree. So that's all there is to command. Very easy to do. And we got to give our happy little tree some leaves. So let's hit 6 on the hotbar, and we are going to give it a little tree. See how easy that is to do? I would recommend that you try not to turn on all 9 of your slots, because that would cause problems. But the beauty of doing it this way is that you can dynamically switch. And let me show you what I mean by dynamically switch. So now I could say I don't want this to be brown anymore. I want this to be this. And now, without changing anything, now this slot is actually snow. And so you can see that I'm painting with snow now because I changed it to be that block. And so if I were to take an existing block, let's say I took this blue block. Oh, we don't want to middle click it because it'll change our slot. I could take this blue block and say I wanted to put it here, like that. And so now, go over here and hit 9. And we've got it like this. And we can draw, and we switch. I keep hitting 1 because I have that one off, and that turns it off. And so that's all there is to it. It's a very simple command. Let's go through it one last time so it's easy to understand. So I'm going to put up on the screen. All you need to know to run this command is it's an execute command that runs either setblock or it runs clone. And execute has where, who, or when, and whatever you need to do for qualifiers, and then the word run, and then what you want to run. So at the beginning, the who is going to be at p, and then we're going to specify the distance, or you can do name equals. The where is going to be at p instead of as p. So for who, you're going to do as, which means it's as if it's you, and you're going to want to do that for a very particular reason. Because when we get to when, the when is going to need to have at s, which is self, and when you're running it as that self, then you can do SelectedItemSlot is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You could pick a number. And then that if command is the when command. And so an if is a conditional, and essentially it says when this criteria is met, when this is true, then we will do something. So the fourth thing is after run, you run whatever command you want to do. You can do setblock or you can do clone. And I recommend doing it like this. Execute, and then you have at p and as p as your where and who, and then your when is going to be if data entity at s, SelectedItemSlot is 0. You can look on the wiki. I'll put a link to this page on target selectors and on execute statements in the wiki, and that'll be in the description below, and that should be able to help you out. And then you just do run. And clone might seem like a tricky command, but it's really not. The first 2 sets of numbers are XYZ, XYZ. They are coordinates from one corner of your selection to the other corner of the selection. The third set of numbers is just where, and so doing it relative to you, it's pretty simple to do. You're going to have offsets of like -1 or -2 to center it on your head. That's a little bit confusing and takes some experimentation to get it where it's centered, but with practice it's not too hard to get down. And then optionally masked. If you don't do that, it'll serve as an eraser. So that's all I've got for today. Hope this was helpful. The fifth W word is why, and the answer is because it's fun. So subscribe if you haven't. We'll do all kinds of stuff like this, and have a good rest of your day. Bye.